Today is the Vidphone Show. We have launched, uh, another interesting program today, which we'll talk to you about. We have some guests as well on the show. Mr. Vijetha Shastry, as well as Akil. I think we're also live on Facebook and YouTube. Uh, just waiting for my panelists to join in today, and I'm going to have a very interesting conversation with both Vijetha and Akil regarding two completely different topics, right? One, of course, being more on the startup and the community, the ecosystem. The second being purely technology, something that Akil and I love doing. So just waiting for my panelists to join in, both Akil and Vijetha. I think today is a very interesting time, for the whole the Vidphone show, in that it's almost, I was using the phrase a couple of days ago, which was uh, that tomorrow is yesterday. And at these times, I think, when in many places in India, the pandemic is kind of really coming back. I think it's important for everybody to play their role, right? And very good evening to Vijetha.
Hey, hi Jagat. Hi, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic. You've had a very hectic day, so I'll be talking about that a little bit later.
Oh no, no, not at all. Yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day. It's always nice to spend time with stalwarts in industry and startups. Thank you for joining in as well, Jagat.
Yes, no
That was
pleasure. I
very
think
kind of you.
wonderful. I think over 100 participants. I think that's
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
that time, right?
We had a lot, and it was good. It was very good. And let's do more, man. Let's do more. That's what we are.
Absolutely.
That's all we care about, right?
So today, the Vidphone show, I was just just got started briefing the kind of context of
Huh.
saying these are very interesting times in the country. I think I was just using the phrase few days ago, saying that tomorrow is yesterday, and we're almost getting back to how last April was. So I think what's very important now, and the reason this whole episode today is really about how together we have to make take some initiatives. Right, this is not going to happen just by a government decision, or by doctors. This is going to be a collective effort, right? And what are those important kind of elements, be it on the community, be it on the startup and the ecosystem side, or be it on the technology side, two areas that we as a company, and I think TIE also as an organization, I think that's the big synergies, right? We always are towards technology, towards product, and towards ecosystems and business. So that being the context, we're just waiting for our co-panelist Akil to join us. Vijeta, any words from you, sir? I mean, very quickly to the audience, just an introduction. Of course, Vijeta needs no introduction here, but just what you have been experiencing past couple of days with your own initiatives. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So, Jagat, many hats, but primarily, as you know, you're a member at TIE, and we have been working on these Startup Sundays. We have been working on this League of Extraordinary Startups, and also the pitch sessions that we have been doing with various startups. So, one is the way video and remote sales and virtual office, the way you have been pushing it forward. It's going to make a big difference in the industry. It's going to help the startups as well. It's going to help the founders and industry and as business owners. We should not just stick to startups, and the everyone has to come together. Founders need to help founders. What you have also been part of the Thai Global Summit, you have been part of the IoT Matrix, you have been coming for a lot of showcases and working together with us, interacting with people. Opportunities are there. Like in the last 1.5 years, you have also raised some funds. You're looking for more funds. You have been onboarding international customers. So the sky's the limit, but the competition will always be there, and you have to stand out. You have to bring in excellence. You have to bring in phenomenal customer service.
Absolutely.
There can be no slip ups, and the sky's the limit, man. That's it, Jagat. And I think we have
Fantastic.
Akil also in, so let's get into the technology startup.
And yes, I
Hello.
think welcome Akil, and I'd leave Akil. Akil is our CTO. Just quickly introduce yourself, and nice to have you on the Vidphone show.
Thank you. It's been a long time. uh, so my name is Akil. I handle the tech here at Vidphone. And can I talk about the launch now, sir?
No, I think we'll just just quickly an introduction. What you have been up to, just like Vijay
Okay.
said, past
Yeah.
few weeks. What has been taking up your time?
Okay, so we've launched the virtual office recently, and now we're working on more on the positioning of the virtual office, and we have a bunch of other products as well. So just working on that a bit and finding out what customers want basically.
I think
And
that's a very interesting thing you said, because that's been one of the great things of a startup. I mean, Steve Blank says a
yeah,
startup is really about searching for that scalable and sustainable model. The
yeah,
search is what a startup is about. Once
yeah,
you, and that's why I think the name founder as well, right? We are finding stuff. And once you find it, then of course you become a different kind of company. But I think today, yes, we have something very interesting, which I think we would like to, Akil is kind of heading this, and wanted to take this opportunity. Akil, a little bit about what is this new initiative that, of course, I know about it,
yeah,
but would love to share with the community.
yeah.
We've been talking about this for, I think, probably a couple of years, but finally I think it's coming to some fruition.
Yeah,
So what is this new initiative, and
yeah.
what is the
So
real
the
problem you see to come about
yeah,
with this problem? Yeah.
yeah. So the pandemic has given lots of people a bit of more free time than what they would usually have. Like some of them have lost their jobs, some of them have stuck at home. So in our series, what we propose to do is have like a full stack 2021 is a concept where you go through this series, and I'm not going to teach you everything about programming, but at least it'll give you like a start, an inclination. It'll help you figure out if this is useful to you. So we're going to talk about Django, which is more on the back end, and then more about Angular and few of the other options that you have while building out a full stack program. And then also in the client side about HTML, JavaScript, and on mobile applications using building hybrid applications using Ionic and Cordova.
Yeah, I think very interesting. Akhil and I have been talking about this, where I think now that more and more people are going to be at home, right? Many people, as he said, will lose their jobs. Many people are looking for new career paths, and doing this for quite some time. What we have found is that one of the most important skills for somebody is to translate an idea or a concept into a functional web or mobile application. And I think fundamentally that is what a startup is about. So, and most people today lack the technical skills to build a basic startup. And a startup is not a restaurant or something that's a small business. A startup is specifically a technology product that can scale. And our belief is that the more we are able to enable people at home to build out simple solutions that for the problems they face, those might well if we let, like in the words of a leader in the past, let 100 flowers blossom, right? So the more we are able to have, I don't know, housewives or homemakers build applications, college students, people outside computer science build applications, I think then we'll see like democratization of ideas. And for example, who knows, maybe a maid or a house help will tomorrow build a great application, and that will solve a specific problem that they have in their own niche. So this, I think, is an important thing to do in the country, right? Programming is always restricted to computer science and certain people in product, people in design, people in development. I think the idea here, Akhil, and I think you share
Yeah,
that vision with me, is that we need to democratize programming or
yeah,
democratize product development, right?
yeah.
And that's the idea, Vijita. And of course, we'll share a little more details, but would like to know your thoughts on this, and how you see this going out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And for both you and Akil, technology is important. In fact, there is a lot of importance being given now that you have to think tech first.
Yeah.
Like, what is going to be your front end, your back end? How are you going to automate a lot of things? How are you going to grow? And when look, we should not ever say that customers are ignorant. We should never say that competition is going to be lying still. We are on the global platform now, and the world is our stage. The potential is there, and bringing in technology that will solve a problem, bringing in technology that will save money, bringing in technology that will improve margins and improve sales. I think these are the fundamental things that we should look at, whether it is for a not-for-profit, for sustainability, for anything, for all the innovation that is required to solve the so many problems that the world has got in remote sales, healthcare, telemedicine, etc., etc. And yes, a shout out to Abrar. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. And I must say that the government of Karnataka is doing in so much of work. The startup cell has got some phenomenal programs, Elevate program, Elevate Udati, And TAI is honored to be able to collaborate and do a lot of deep work with them. And hats off to the startup self. And yes, let's move forward and understand more on the real stuff that is happening around the technology front from Akil.
Yes. Akil, and just a bit of context about Akil. A lot of people, will be watching this, they won't know a little bit, but let me just introduce Akil. Akil's been with us now nearly 5 years, right? So he joined us as a fresher, and today, 5 years later, I think he is, I think, completely a full stack developer, right? We always evangelize full stack, be it development or marketing. We generally, as a company, look at rounded kind of personalities, and I think that really is where it comes from. Uh, so Akhil, has worked on not only on Vidphone but also on other enterprise level projects, right, with some very very large customers, and the kind of work he has done has really been platform agnostic, language agnostic, and that really is a very important thing to understand today. It's not about having skill set in a particular language. It's about being able to understand and move forward, right? Uh, so that being said, Akhil, a little bit more. Let's, I think today, of course, we're just launching Full Stack 2021 and a kind of warm introductory discussion on that. Tomorrow, of course, is the first session, uh, and we'd encourage everybody to really join in, uh, and see how you can pick up a few tricks, right? Let me tell you that typically, if I'm coming up with an idea or a concept and I discuss that with Akil, within a few hours, typically we have that at least on our test servers, right? And even recently, we were part of another program where they told us that by far we are the startup in the cohort that has moved the fastest, right, Akil?
Yes.
We won't take the names of the people, but it was very clear to understand as a company, continuous deployment and lean development, agile. These are not only words to us. These are not just jargon. This is actually the way of life here at Vidphone, and hopefully that's how people will learn to build and develop things also, right? It's and I know that friends of mine at Microsoft, there are other guys, and all of them actually ask us, how do we do this? How do we ship maybe 5 times a week, right? uh, because these things are not typically done. They're spoken about a lot. Eric Ries talks about continuous deployment, but even if you look at startups today, you just go to their Play Store, page or App Store, and you just check when is the last update. It will not be last week or 10 days back. It will be a lot behind that, right? So that's something that's very important. Akil, over to you now. Just two or three high level pointers. What are the you know why are we adopting, first of all, certain technologies, right?
Yes.
There might be some who are saying, let's say, React or PHP
Yeah.
and other tools. We have a certain thesis
Mm.
and we have a certain stack which
Yes.
we think is like really zen. That is, somebody
Yeah.
can come in and build out cross platform in 14 days probably, right? And that's
Yes.
like lightning fast. There is no other platform set that you can use today that you can go from zero to pushing out, what do you call, published live apps in
Yeah.
14 days. And a little bit, yeah, you go over to you, a little bit on the stack itself and the reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our core stack is Django, and there are many reasons for it. But one of the main reasons is we're a smaller team compared to a lot of our competition, so we can't spend a lot of time chasing new technologies like React. Uh, and Just one thing, yeah, and yeah, uh, sorry, just 1 second. So yeah, you're on mute, sir. Yeah. I'll explain it 1 second. So we're a smaller team, and then we all normally use established software like Django, which will provide a full stack solution at one go. It's called a all-inclusive, batteries included solution, where you can build a web application with a database, with models, with views, with templates, all inclusive in one shot, instead of needing a dedicated backend programmer, a dedicated database developer, a dedicated front end developer. You can give power of all of those combined into one platform. And then for our mobile applications, we use Ionic for the same reason. So instead of building one native application in Java, one native application in Swift or Objective C. We build out one application in Ionic, which will help, which you can push onto the Play Store in one shot, Play Store and App Store.
I think well said. I think the roots really come from being lean. I think being lean means being a small team. We are hoping that the government started something like 1% companies, right? For those who know that, and who knows, tomorrow there might be a 1% company who's at home who builds out this app. Hopefully finds product market fit,
Yeah.
and is making maybe $100,000 a year, right? I'm not talking about him making millions or something like that. At least if he can get to 100,000 a year, that would be like a dream for the country, right? So what he said is very true. It's about small teams. You don't want to have multiple code sets for different platforms. And but again, I would say that
You
there
have
will
to
be
reuse as much as possible. Yeah.
certain cases, in case you are using deep features of the specific platform of an Android phone, like the accelerometer or stuff like that, then there may be situations where a native app may be useful. But let's say that 90% of the cases, typical what we call CRUD applications, create, read, update, delete, like forms, shopping, Oyo, and Ola. A lot of these kind of stuff can be built with cross-platform apps, and and just a bit about Django. We've been in Django since 2010. So I see a lot of people today getting into Django, but we have deep roots in Django, and I think that's one of the reasons we like to share what we have. Of course, we'd like to learn from the community as well. We need to build out really strong developer communities here in India, and it's not only about attending events of large companies, right? This is really about homegrown, abilities, and that's really what we want to propagate as well, right? The more we are able to produce quality programmers here in India, I think the quality of our startups are going to go multifold, right? It's as simple as that. Vijetha, Chief, your views. What are your thoughts so far, and any ideas at all? Then, of course, we get to your, the wonderful things.
Yeah, that's fine. So obviously for founders, what is the frugal innovation? How quickly can they build the products and take it to market and constantly upgrade it? That's what matters. So people, I've been also seeing that Flutter. A lot of people are looking for Flutter developers. A lot of people, of course, Python because they want to build machine learning, artificial intelligence in between, correct? And of course, video is now becoming very important. So and also you want to be Atmanirbhar. So in bullet points, if keeping these 3-4 factors in mind, if you have to give it, Akhil, you can just tell it, this is what you should be using. These are the platforms that you should use.
Okay. For each platform is useful for certain situations. You can't use one platform for everything. Like example for Django, you have something called an ORM, which is something on top of a database. So you can replace your database with just a settings config, uh, but you can still use the same API on top. The ORM is useful for most of the situations, but suppose you want to squeeze out some extra performance, you may choose to use may choose to write the SQL queries by yourself. So I can't like suggest a tool just randomly. If depending on the situation, you can evaluate and get the best tool for the job.
Now, like you said, an ORM or object relation mapper is like it's again, as you said, could be used in certain situations, certain not. But I think, as Vijetha was saying, Flutter, again, we had a discussion recently. I
Yes.
think Flutter is something that we've always looked at, and Dart, for example, Go is there. So there is a ton of new stuff happening. But I think a couple of things that we want to keep as anchors here. Of course, there might be associated tools that will come about. But two anchors, I would say, web would be Django and Python based, and mobile would be Ionic and Cordova based. So this would be the two anchors. Of course, along with that, there might be certain modules you may want to build out. Very interesting that Vijetha mentioned about video there, and that's one of the critical aspects. But I think we won't get into WebRTC or details on that too much in this initial module, because not everyone may want to build video apps, and I think video apps are a second level, right? But WebRTC alone, you can't build stuff. You need to know either Django or Java or something to make sense out of it. So I think, but that's a very good point. I think, Akhil, we can also look slowly at maybe some video modules, right? Some kind of how does someone build out, and that would be tutorials on our SDK and our meetings tutorials and stuff like that. So Super. So any other final pointers, Akil? I mean, so what do people expect tomorrow? Who are you looking
Yeah.
to, get into your webinar? What kind of audience do
Yeah.
you want?
So this is not going to be a more of a teaching, like a tutorial kind of webinar. It's going to be more like an overview of the existing tools available, existing frameworks available. I'll mention why you use Django. So most people, they get a recommendation and then they jump into using it. So I'm going to explain more about why you use Django, in what situations, what are the benefits, what will you actually gain from using Django, and maybe situations where you might prefer to use something else. Uh, and so this is mainly, so even if you don't have too much of programming knowledge, you can join the event tomorrow. And uh, like, you need interpretatory knowledge of Python, that's preferred, but that's not a very strict requirement. And the people who I like, you could be a programmer or a executive, like management level person.
I think you should look at a lot of people, non-tech people. I think that's someone we want to get in also, right? The whole power is to get somebody completely non-tech. And recently, I also heard, some people are saying like programming is the next MBA. Again, it's going back to that, right? People today prefer to learn programming because they feel they can build out this $1 billion app, and that's a probably better path than an MBA, right? I mean, I was hearing Valley, especially, there were some of these things. So it's a key skill to learn today, programming, and of course, we make it fun as well, right? Programming has always been about, the moment I see C, I kind of get turned off. And for
Yeah.
Java today, I mean, I've always got turned off by Java, right? But that's why 10 years ago we said Django over Ruby on Rails, and then Cordova over, let's say, React in 2013, then WebRTC in 2016, and 2021. I don't know. I'm sure there is a new technology upgrade as a company we will do this year, and I have some two, three in mind. But that's the whole thing. We're not going to teach you a specific language. I mean, though it's going to be Django and Cordova, I don't want people to misunderstand that it's going to be only a language or a or a framework specific learning. It's really about understanding some principles, how to work with the database, how to work with the models, and how to kind of architect good applications. So even if tomorrow you want to switch to, let's say, the mean stack, that shouldn't really be an issue, right? So you have fundamentals somewhere. So that's great, Akil, and I think tomorrow, all of you, looking forward to having you all with us. Let's learn together. I'm sure there are $1 billion possibilities, right? Once you learn to code. So let's do that. And now over to Vijetha Shastry. I think it's all about certain. I mean, of course, you have been part of the ecosystem, Vijetha, and almost every day I think you're doing something in the public. Not only in terms of meetings, but I think in terms of the public itself, you're doing outreaches, which is, I think, phenomenal. Uh, but would love to hear from you some updates, some startup updates, ecosystem updates, community updates. I mean, your notes on these. Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
definitely, definitely. And since we also have Abrar from the Karnataka startup cell, if we can also get him online to quickly talk, Jagat and Akhil, let's
Yeah.
do that. But yes, there is a lot of activities happening from Karnataka government. There is a lot of opportunities. Okay. Now, how do you know all these things? Guess what, man? This is all on the public domain. If you follow our Thai Bangalore channels also, Jagat, and I keep tagging you folks also there. There's a lot of activities that are going on. Number one. Number two, what we should also be doing, and this is very critical, right, is that we can actually figure out what are the, I mean, look, customers and investors. I will not talk beyond that. And of course, when you're a Time member, there's a certain privilege that you get in terms of credits, right? And Jagat, we have, thanks to them, they always try to help out with as much as they can. But yeah, life when you are having free credits, and life after you have no credits, it's a very different world, isn't it? I mean that, and the cash burns has to be managed. But please, as members, we can try to do our best for you. That's number one. Number two, like what we did today, Jagat, with no, I mean, of course, it's not nothing to do with video, but the opportunities that are there in EV, space, defense, 5G, telecom, and definitely in healthcare, there are a lot of things. But yes, I see a synergy between how you can look at telemedicine as a very big industry for you to tackle, right? Telemedicine is growing steadily, and it's not going to go smaller. It's going to be exponential growth because of and it's beyond just because the pandemic is on, etc., etc. Its time has come. So maybe there's a business opportunity to leverage, and Karnataka government and the government of India also is trying to figure out how more and more things can be done remotely. All right. Then look at the way that e-commerce has grown so much. So just to let people know that people from H&M, Flipkart, Walmart, there are a lot of schemes available where they're looking for startups. Then a shout out to people like from Cisco Launchpad, NetApp Accelerator, Lowe's Innovation Lab, and Budstart. By the way, we did a Jagat, if you remember the ABN Bear, we did a Budstart program. So 23rd of April, there is going to be the official launch, and Budstart is looking for people from circular packaging and sustainability and water and fintech, etc., etc., and of course logistics. So there are huge opportunities, global opportunities. By the way, it's not just about India, but then it also means that there are people from Africa, from China, etc., competing. But why not? Competition is always good. So
Yes.
these are the things that is happening from the accelerators and the paid POC potential and everything. Jagat, we are also looking at how we can do more with embassies. Right? You have also been with part of some of these programs you did recently with Wales, we
Yes.
did in Netherlands, and today the Head Start team also did something with the Finland,
Finland.
Finland and India hub, innovation hub, because even
Business Finland.
Finland is looking is a leader in cybersecurity, in fintech, in sustainability, and they're definitely looking at the Indian market for both collaborations right across, right? And that's something where there's a lot of opportunity. Then I would like to list out some of the investors who are running programs.
Yes.
So while Surge is there, there is also the Waterbridge VC team. They have got the Fast Forward program. We are one of the partners for that. And you all can write into me or Vinay, and we can see what we can do for you. But again, just be careful that please research what kind of startups they're looking for rather than blindly applying. Okay, and Waterbridge people, that is Ravi and also Anjali. Anjali is a Thai charter member, wonderful person. They would really care about doing things for the startups. Then Jagat, I would also say Idea Spring Capital, 314 Capital, then Bloom Ventures. These are the other three folks who are constantly looking for founders and startups. Again, the advice always will be that look at their existing portfolio and look at what is their investment thesis, and accordingly you can approach them. So these are some of the activities that are going on, Jagat. And also let's quickly see who are the Puneet also has joined in. Hi Puneet, good to see you here. And Puneet is a guy, Rohit, Puneet. They've been very supportive in the past as well.
Ashok has
Thanks.
joined us from Pondicherry as well. Hi, Ashok.
Ashok, the man from Pondicherry. Yes, another beautiful place. Abrar, would you able to come online for a couple of minutes and say hi to everyone? And would love later on to also get Ashok or the other folks also,
I can
because
use the raise hand probably, Vijita, for
oh
now.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, we can do that as
Have
well. Have I given that option? Yes, I've given the option.
I've enabled the raise hand. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And I would also like to say that hiring is happening, Jagat, because startups are looking for interns. So I want to give a shout out to our friends Johnson and Co from Saidri College. They have got, and maybe Jagat, you should also talk to him, because they are looking to give their interns and their students an opportunity to, even if it's a very small, concise project with or without money or small money, whatever it is,
Yeah.
they want to work on projects around AI, ML, robotics, data science, and AR, VR, content creation, etc., etc. And they, because they want to learn, they want to add value, they want to contribute, and obviously they need their certificates, and they're looking for the future of jobs.
Absolutely.
The future of work is also about that, right? And wonderful people. So that's one more thing that is going on. Also, I would like to talk about the fact that and Jagat, you have also been part of NASCOM, and the NASCOM is of course trying to do a lot of activities which can help IoT startups, hardware startups at the center of excellence, and of course software side which you have been part of. There's a lot of opportunity. And Jagat, see, how do we now think about this? A lot of the stuff that we do has to be remote. So it's a very different thought process that we have to think, and we have to evaluate what to do.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
think now we will see whether we like it or not, and looking at the data, right? And I'm just looking at how Mumbai 14 days back, they were saying no lockdown, and then they do the curfew, and then now they are saying that lockdown has to happen. Similarly, now in Bangalore, we have, the night curfew. So maybe 10 days, 14 days later, I don't know the situation in Bangalore. And similarly in many other places, right? And we have two options. One is that we say, okay, we are locked down and we can't do anything. I mean, and we really, get into a self-destructive mode because there are, money has dried up and opportunities have dried up. Or the second approach, which I think is a slightly wiser approach, is really to accept the new world, is to accept the new ways of doing business, and say that how do we now capitalize, right? How do we kind of take this initiative, be probably the first in the world as a country, as an ecosystem to adopt these practices, be digital first, video first, remote first, right? And how do we take the lead? Because this is how the entire world is functioning. It's not only something like a national problem. This is an international problem. It's a global problem. So I always try to look at optimistic scenarios, even if there is a very small, silver lining. We try and get lost only in that silver lining, because even as a startup, you have 99 ways to fail. You cannot look at those 99 ways. You have to just look at that one way to actually move forward. And that's the only way you can move forward. And the beauty is that you will move forward. The point is that, you really seek, and life happens the way you kind of, look at it. So I think it's a big philosophical shift and psychological shift for people, because generally we don't like change, right? I tell people study in college, or when they get into their jobs, beginning they have some training, and after that you really don't learn as many new things as you would like to. And I think that has to change today. And I think that everyone has to have a fresh mind. So we're looking at some opportunities around. First, our goal is really to solve remote work. I think that's going to be very critical. And of course, we're a small team, so we look at certain areas only that we focus on. But of course, we have our the whole video platform is proprietary, and it's in-house technology. And this is going to be the backbone for virtual learning, for virtual healthcare, virtual shopping, virtual entertainment. And when I look at digital life, that is when you're locked in your house in a lockdown, you still have to get up in the morning and sleep at night. Now, the question is, what kind of activities can you do in that time? And the way I see it is, it's only these 5 activities that people will do. You will work for 8 out of those 8 to 10 hours out of 24. You will want some entertainment, music, or whatever, and then you would have to shop. You would have to learn, or your kids will have to go to school, learn, and you would need healthcare, and that's about it. Now, if we can handle these 5 things reasonably well with the right community, we can help a lot of people in these difficult times. And so it's an important mission, and I think we have the community support and great folks like Vijetha backing us. So I think we should be able to pull something off. So over to Vijetha, over to Akil. I mean, any more notes? Is Abrar joining us, Vijetha?
I
Not
think
too
he
sure
does.
if he does, he does. But Akhil, I also want to understand. See, there is front end and there is back end, right?
Yes.
So on front end, UI, UX, look and
Yes.
feel, branding is very critical. So
Yes.
can you just share with us some quick bullet pointed notes on that? The front end, the customer experience. How does that work out?
Okay, so first you want to plan out your front end. So content is king. So first you want to do like if we call it information architecture of all the content that you want to portray on your website, and then you want to use something like Figma, or there's another tool, mockups, MOQUPS, to build out like a wireframe of your website. And then tools like mockups also allow you to do like a functional prototype where you can pretend like the button is actually connected to another page, where you click on the button and you can kind of walk through the flow with the customer. And then once you do that, you can elicit feedback from the stakeholders, from the customer. And once that is there, you go through a few loops of that, and then once that is there, you can then actually open the computer and start coding.
Okay, this is
That's
the
it.
this is what he's saying, the non-designer approach. You don't even need a designer in your team. So this is just one developer. And when you know the tools like Figma or mockups, and of course I would say Bootstrap has played a big. Bootstrap as in Twitter Bootstrap, not bootstrapping the company. HTML CSS collection Bootstrap has played a huge role in front end development. uh, I would say that, I remember back in the day, 2010, 11, 12, we had to build every button, we had to build every form. It was really painful. And then Bootstrap came about and changed the game completely, right? Similarly with Ionic and other front end components. I think today, even somebody with no real design perspective can, you can make the application seem there was actually a designer behind it. So great question, Vijeta. And but couple of things we don't know, right? We're always talking about this kind of UI. Everyone's guessing when voice UI is going to take over. It's not going to be anything like this on a screen. You just have, like this. When you do Alexa, you have some vibrating thing, and It's just going to be talking, and maybe you'll have transcribe on it,
Yeah, yeah.
reading back.
So convergence of technologies is what everyone says is going to happen, right? Voice, video, touch, feel, everything. See what? Okay, voice is there, but what if someone has got a voice defect?
Yes,
Then it changes. It could be gestures. What if
absolutely.
someone has got a whatever? I mean, there are so many combinations and permutations that are happening, and computing on the edge is going to come to so many other uses, functionalities. I will not even say it's they're saying that people are now saying that you talk and the code will work on the back end. There's no code that you have to enter or zero code, but the program will decide how to do it and will crack the solution for you and solve the problem for you. I mean, we're living in a different world and hope that happens. Hope that
It's
a
a
lot of wealth gets created.
yeah.
Also, jobs get created also.
That's a really good one. I mean, when I'm looking at low code or no code solutions today, and when you mix voice technology, so it's like build a registration form with 5 fields and stuff like that, and you can see it happen. Well, I think it's going to take a while till we get there, but I don't see why it won't happen if you don't have the right kind of. Once you have the right frameworks and you're thinking straight, I think it's possible. But yeah, fantastic. So Akhil, what about you? Last notes from you for today. I think we've had a wonderful, very impromptu and nice session here, launching both your new webinar as well as those updates from Vijetha. Uh,
Yeah.
Akhil, so any parting notes from you for today?
Yeah, look forward to tomorrow. Join us. I mean, it's not very. It's a technical topic, but it's not meant for very technical people. So please join us, and then you'll take away something from it tomorrow.
Most
So I'm
important.
not sure.
And over to you, Vijetha. Any new updates? I think tomorrow we still be continuing IoT Day, so maybe something on
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. We are continuing with that, and definitely there are a lot of, I mean, a lot of activities happening in the colleges, and definitely we also want to give a shout out that we have Startup Sunday, we have so many other activities. So Jagat, in all these groups, including the TIE groups, you should put that form out so that more and more founders can take advantage of all these programs that you are very kindly giving your platform for. And a shout out from you. What is happening in terms of you're still looking for, raising more funds. You're definitely looking to onboard more customers, and what about your virtual office? Love to see you share some of your slides or something and talk about virtual office.
No, I think as we know, one, of course, fundraising and customers is a constant process for any company, and of course, product development as well. See, why we've been doing all this is, of course, not only that we are a video first company, and as you know, we raise money online. Most of our deals happen online, really on video, right? We don't even meet people. As a completely automated kind of business model, we acquire our customers on video, we convert them into customers on video, and we support them on video. And we use video tools to collaborate with our teams, whether it's with our own employees or with other vendors or with our partners. And we're truly a video first company, and we've been this way pre-pandemic. Even before pandemic, we were closing deals completely on video. I think the reason we are doing this is that I think a lot of startups, right? When you look at the time the pandemic hit last year in India, after March, I think you saw a lot of startups really take a hit. And for us, we just want to be able to give them a platform, a viable alternative, so that they can, sail through these difficult times. And but of course, I wouldn't say that this is not a pill that you can just take and it works. You have to make it work. You have to use the tools. You have to spend some time learning the best practices. That's something that I would really like to tell the startups and founders that uh, don't complain that the pandemic has affected your business, right? It's affected everybody. I think if you truly are a path breaking innovator, you will look to innovate during these times, because I think that's when you really stand out. So of course, and not everyone's going to make it, right? Let's be very, very honest. In fact, I think with this next quarter, that is this April, May, June, and next quarter, Q1, Q2, because of the pandemic, we're going to see a watershed moment in startups. I mean, there are going to be I know that there were a lot of unicorns. In fact, the most created, last week, which is a record. On one side, we are seeing like, phenomenal activity, but on the ground, at the grassroots level, people who don't have cash flow are going to die out, faster than ever in the next 2 quarters. So it's probably going to be 10-15% of the startups that are there today that will actually survive this pandemic. And let's be real about it. There is no other way. And for this 10 or 15% of startups, we are always there to partner, to support, because We believe these are the true innovators. They are not going to complain. They are going to take the steps necessary, learn the skills needed, and break through this time, right? So that's what I think. Uh, Virtual office, again, it's a one-stop platform for your customers and your employees. Really, the replacement for your physical office. We all miss the office, right? Who doesn't miss our wonderful conversations in the cafeterias and other places? But definitely, I think virtual office. We are doing a module as well, how to, and starting that this week. Really excited to have everybody and use our virtual office. We're already having a lot of people using our virtual offices, so that's really fantastic. uh, of course, they have given us some feedback. We are working on that feedback, and I think there will always be a better version coming through, right? So it's been really wonderful. Thanks to Akil and Vijetha for joining us, sharing your wonderful insights. Parting notes, last couple of notes for before we sign off. So Akil, I think you have said about the event for the session for tomorrow.
Yes.
What time do you propose to do that? I think probably in the evening.
Yeah, about 5-ish.
Let's see. I think 5 or 6 o'clock probably. I think it's a Sunday also, so be mindful of you don't want people, you don't want the wives shouting at the husbands learning programming on Sunday. It's like, what is this new thing you have to run away from me, right? So be careful. I think let's pick a slot that's viable. Maybe 6 o'clock. Vijayta, what do you think? I think 6 would be a good time, right? 6 or 7.
You're talking about tomorrow?
See, tomorrow is Sunday, so as I was just saying, it's risky. If
6 to 7, yeah. 6 to 7 is okay, definitely.
Yeah, and it should be 7 we are off so that they can get to family duties.
Sure.
Definitely. That is a good time. One needs to rejuvenate as well.
Absolutely.
And thank you, everyone. Take care. Thank you so much, Jagat and Akil, once again for this
Thank you.
wonderful session and learning.
Thanks a lot, and see you all at IoT Matrix tomorrow, IoT Day tomorrow. Thank you.